Hello and welcome back to our next session with the amazing Lindsay Shelley. I don't know which way I'm pointing, if I'm mirrored or not, but she's here. Lindsay Shelley, who is going to be talking all about how you can express yourself and not repress yourself. I always feel like I want to go into a bit of a vogue when we talk about this. So I'm going to stop before I absolutely cringe and embarrass myself with dancing. And I'm going to hand it straight over. Lindsay, thank you so much for being here. And the stage is yours.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. So I have known Estelle for, I think it's about 5 years now. So like, I was so proud. I messaged her earlier at the beginning and was like, I feel like I've watched your whole journey, like to come here and then to come and stand on like your stage, like just feels like really just incredible to me. And I'm just so proud of everything you stand for. So obviously when you invited me, I was like, hell yes. And I would say as well, like it hasn't always been a hell yes to speaking for me. I have been on this spiritual journey for a long while, and when you kind of start coming into these communities and things, like, you know, I've had readings with people and everybody says, you're here to speak, like you're here to be a speaker, you're going to be a motivational speaker. And I was like, I would rather shit in my hands and clap than stand on a stage in front of everybody and bare my soul. Okay. And I remember having a reading a couple of years ago, and within 5 minutes of this woman telling me that this is what I was going to do, Estelle actually messaged me and was like, I'm doing my first Immortal Monkey in-person event and you were the first person I thought of. And I was like, shit, this woman weren't fucking around, was she? And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Like went and had a little lay down. So yeah, and we seem to have come a couple of years further on, and here we are, still on a stage. Still sharing the message, sharing the love, and being our authentic self. So I just wanted to kind of frame that because it feels really poignant to me. So my name is Lindsay Shelley. I am a quantum business mentor, an international best-selling author, a dark feminine activist, which you will absolutely know why as we go through this presentation. I'm a human design and Gene Keys guide, an absolute nut. So for all of you talking about like the nodes and all of the things, I was like, yes, I love this stuff. Like it really fires me up, lights me up. And I absolutely see the power and the potency and understanding that stuff. Okay. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my nodes in my story, because those points that Rachel touched on, literally I was catapulted from what I was doing into my destiny, you know. And today for me as well feels like a date with destiny for me, like being here and starting this speaking journey. Although I speak on lots of different forums, like this is a very different way of sharing my message for me. So I guess in terms of me and what I stand for, is very much around reminding women who they are so that they can be who they came to be, you know, being that assertive, powerful woman in business, and really stepping into that power and expressing who you are and not repressing the parts of you that have maybe you've been conditioned to, that weren't desirable, you know, nobody will listen, all of that stuff that people are just like, no, little girls should be seen and not heard. You can't say that, you can't speak like that, that's not very love and light, that's not this, that's not that. Like all of these judgments that people throw at you, and you just kind of, you know, you can just deflect them and move through life. So I'm really passionate about women expressing themselves. My background is a 21-year corporate career. I have built businesses my whole life. Some I built for other people and got paid a measly wage, if I'm honest. But I've run multi-million pound department stores. The biggest one was a 50 million turnover. I was very much a troubleshooter. I've worked all around the UK. I've worked abroad for some of these stores as well. And I was very much a troubleshooter. And what I always used to say to people is, I've never been in the business of building businesses. The business building has been by default. What I've always been really good at is building people and empowering people and showing them who they are and what they are so fucking good at that nobody else can do, and allowing them to step into that role, to step into that identity, rather than, you know, we've heard people talking about faking it till they make it and all of this thing. Like, I just want everybody to be who the fuck they came here to be. Okay. I'm very passionate, very, very passionate. If you know Gene Keys and you know human design, my sun is in gate 49.2, Aquarius. My Godhead is Callie, the dark feminine energy. And she's not here to fuck around. Like, we're not here to fuck around. I'm not here to fuck around. Okay. We are here to be seen. We are here to be heard. And we are here to make a difference, not only for ourselves, but for our daughters, for all of those women that were suppressed before us, okay, and all of the women that are yet to be born and brought into this lineage. So we matter. Like, this work that we do matters so much. And I know that's why when it was like, ching, camera on, I was like, this matters to me so much. Like, sharing this message matters to me so much. And quite often with my energy, because I get so passionate, and the power and the rawness and the no fucks given, everybody goes, oh, I love how you give no fucks. But it's like, I give no fucks what people think as such, but I care so much. So it's like, I give no fucks, but I give so many fucks, right? There's optimum fucks in the air today. Now you can tell I've got a little bit of a potty mouth. I'm very passionate, but the way I speak is where I've always been suppressed in my life. You know, you can imagine somebody, you know, from Pompey, you know, a proper Pompey girl rocking up in corporate world and fuck this and fuck that. I was squashed down very, very quickly, because the people that I worked for liked women in power suits with high heels, which I couldn't even walk in, you know, black filofaxes, black pens, who just looked pretty and tottered around their shops and pointed at things and did things like this. I did not fit that mold, right? I'm an Aquarius. I'm not here to fit in, like, and I believe so many of us, we're not here to fit in. And, you know, that brings its own challenges with it. But one of the things that I've learned since stepping out of that corporate career is like just how magical I am as me, without being anything that is expected of me. Like, I've carried a lot of expectations about how I should speak, how I should behave, the things I should do from childhood, from career, from all of the things. So this 21-year career came to an abrupt end. In 2019, I had a mental breakdown. My husband was in the military, came outside, went into the ambulance service, had a very, very long battle with PTSD, had 2 young children, was working full time. Like, I was at capacity. Like, literally, I would get up, I would sort everybody else out, I would go to work, I would change mask to mask to mask, come home, and then just be like, ooh, I've got nothing left. And I remember sitting in the car park at Charlie's school in October 2019, and I was like, I can't hold anymore. Like, I'm done. I've got nothing left to give. Like, my tank is empty. Like, I'm literally just done. And it was kind of in that moment of surrender, I was like, you know, just send me something. Like, I can't do this anymore. And that was when I ended up stepping into the network marketing world. 8 weeks after that divine surrender and working with my first coach and kind of really starting to do some of this shadow work. And I suppose it was the start of my awakening to who I really was. Within 8 weeks, I'd built a network marketing business that had replaced my corporate income, with only 300 people on Facebook. And literally all I did was just show up, share my life, share my vision. And people were like, yes, we'll have some of that. Yes, yes, yes. And Estelle used to come in and you know, and support me with training those people that were following me. And I'm like, what are you following me? Like, I don't even know what I'm doing, but the energy just became so contagious. And within 8 months, I'd built a team of 1,700 people, mainly mums, mainly women, who were like, do you know what? We're fucking tired as well. Like, we want more. We want something for ourselves. We want to reclaim those bits of identity. And that was definitely, although it felt a little bit like the blind leading the blind, it was very much around that having something for yourself and finding something for you. So within 8 months, like I said, I'd built a huge team. I'd built a 6-figure network marketing business, left that corporate career behind, was all very happy, like living the dream, you know, the nice car, all of the stuff that everybody aspires to. And then my North Node hit. And my North Node hit me like a, well, I don't even know, like a what, like a rocket falling from the sky or what have you. And I sat there and I went, I'm really unfulfilled. Like, I've got all of this money, I've got this nice car, and I'm like, I've got more in me than this. Like, I've got more in me than this. Like, what is it? And literally, you know, it's my whole life is very much been that asking it is given. You know, when you surrender it, you are kind of given the next step. So you know, I'm scrolling online and a friend puts up a post about healing modalities. I knew nothing about healing and coaching other than like network marketing and all of the business stuff I'd done. And I went, I'm going to do that. And my husband was like, well, isn't that like all spiritual stuff? I went, I don't even know what it is. I was like, but I'm going to do that. Like, I know I'm meant to do that. Anyway, so a couple of weeks later, I found myself doing a quantum healing modality. You know, turns out I'm actually really psychic. Got all of these gifts, a very natural healer and all of this stuff. And I was like, God, that's really, really weird. Like, who knew all of this stuff, like was in little old me. And then it kind of developed from that. I went into, you know, human design, gene keys. I'm very, very keen on the original teachings from the I Ching. Absolutely love the I Ching. I probably look at the bits in the chart. The way I do it is quite niche. Like, it's not like a chart reading, it's very intuitive. Like, I'll literally, someone will come to me, they'll go, this is where I'm at, and I'll literally go whoop into the bits of the chart, pull out the magic and give them the bits that they need in that time. So for those of you, just a little tip as well, for those of you getting into human design and astrology and all of the things, like, don't try and understand it all at once. Just really go with the flow and take the bits you need when you need them. Okay, so that was me. So 12 weeks into the coaching and healing arena, I hit my first 17k month within 12 weeks. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like, what is actually going on here? You know, and I stepped away from that 6-figure network marketing business into this soul purpose, soul nourishing work, and was still being paid at the same level. Like, it didn't even make sense to me. And it's like, I went through all of these kind of like, I went through, like, I'm a 2-4 generator, right? So we're like the easy breezy genius. I had to work through so much guilt for the fact that I knew there were people in the spiritual community that had been trying to build that impact and that income for such a long time. And I kind of just walked in, new kid on the block, and was like, boom, you know, this is what I've done. And people were like, Jesus, like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm just doing whatever I'm told. And well, who's telling you? I was like, I don't know who the fuck it is, but it's something in me that's telling me, and I just follow that shit, right? And I couldn't articulate it at that time, because I was literally just going with the flow, speaking what was coming through me, like all of the things. And, you know, don't get me wrong, it's not been all shits and giggles, okay? Like, I've had a very, very, very physical spiritual awakening. Like, although there's been magic and there's been stuff weaved in, it's been very, very physical, because my awakening has been in the last 2 years. You know, like, there was no slow growth process. It was literally, it almost felt like, you got to be here by this date. This is how I look at it now. You've got to be here by this date, and we've got to get you ready. It's going to be fast, it's going to be painful, but you can absolutely hold it. You're resilient as fuck. Like, everything's brought you to this point. Go. And it was only that deep, deep trust in my soul when I went into these dark places, and then I'd come out, and it has literally been like that for such a long time, that trust in my soul and those voices and that knowing within me like really, really kept me going. So I guess I would say to anybody that's kind of felt like, you know, they're really, you know, pushing uphill and it's hard, like just keep going. You are building strength, you are building stamina, and the reason you are building that strength and stamina is because you've got a fucking huge mission, you've got a big vision to share. Yeah, and you need that resilience and you need that strength and you need that core body strength as well, like a reminder that all of this stuff that comes through you is coming through your physical body. You know, I know, looking at my clients and my community, this year is about embodiment. It's about looking after your physical body, because we've done the shadow work. Now we've got to really integrate these codes and start looking after this physical vehicle. Okay, so that's kind of like my story and how I come here. But what I wanted to talk to you about today specifically is, you know, we're all here today because it's like we want to get into public speaking, we want to share our message, like we want to express ourselves. But it's easy to forget sometimes that all life is a stage. Life is a stage that we get to speak on, and we get the opportunity to speak on every day. When we speak to our children, yeah, we are taking that stage. When we speak to our partners, we are taking that stage. When we speak to our clients, when we talk to the person in the shop, you know, it's an opportunity to speak. And all of those small moments where we choose to speak from our soul, and we choose to speak from a place of power and a place of love and a place of passion, they compound into these bigger moments, right? And one of the things that I often find with women in business is that they will come to me and they will be like, right, this is happening in my business, X, Y, and Z, and straight away I get pulled to their home life. And I'm like, I'm just being guided to ask you about this situation. And they're like, well, how do you know about that? I'm like, oh, I don't even ask me how I know. I just know, right? It's just how it works. And when it comes down to the communication and the issues they have in their business, it's actually more about the issues and the communication that is missing in some of those other areas of life that is a stage. Their relationships, not communicating with their husband, this conflict that happens when we don't speak from a place of power, when we don't assert our needs, when we don't ask for our needs, and we place these invisible expectations on people just to know what we want, to know what we expect of them, and it causes this distortion in frequency. Now, you're probably thinking, what the fuck has that got to do with business? But if you are not communicating your needs and what you are here to do with your clients in an assertive, powerful, authoritative, and I'm not talking about, like, you know, when I say powerful, assertive, and authoritative, I don't mean like I mean just that, like a place of power, assertive, like this is what I want, this is what you can do, It's like, the frequency is authority. But if you're not bringing that, like, the universe doesn't separate things into little boxes, it doesn't compartmentalize things. You know, how you show up in your business and how you communicate to your clients, there will be threads of those frequency with your communication with other people. Now, one of the things that I would absolutely say is, and this is where the dark feminine activist kind of comes in, is there is a lot of things that people do not say because they fear the rejection, they fear conflict, and they fear the reaction from the other person. Okay, and if you are somebody that is going to put yourself out there and you are going to show up in business, in life, on your stage, in all of these ways, you need to know that you can hold it all. You can, whatever you put out, yeah, you can hold whatever comes back at you. You can hold the good, you can hold the judgment, you can hold the rejection. And when you build your capacity to hold it all, to hold the flip side and not just the shit, you know, not just the good stuff, yeah, you will feel that power, that absolute empowerment, that it's like, do you know what, I'm fucking doing this no matter what. And if you don't like what I've got to say, yeah, that's not a me problem. If you don't agree with me, that's not a me problem, because the biggest thing I can say to you today is you are not responsible for how people receive your energy. Your job is to speak from your soul. Your job is to speak with love, power, and compassion. And I'll be honest, sometimes that love, power, and compassion is not going to be for the other person. Sometimes it's going to be for fucking you, because sometimes we have to choose ourselves above every single other person. And to me, this is a fundamental piece where people shrink back in their business because they don't want to look like a bitch. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to be rejected. They don't want. But if you want the good stuff, and you want the you want the abundance, you want the impact, you want all of that stuff, you've got to fucking hold the shit. You have to, and you have to integrate that and let it flow through you, and know that no matter what comes at you, and Estelle, I'm looking at you here because I've seen you ride some of the shittest fucking waves in life, in business, yet you still show up here like it doesn't matter, like you're here for it. Like if somebody says to you, this is where you're going, okay, and you're going to get there no matter what, if old Misty Moo on the internet comes and gives you shit, she can jog on, you can hit block and delete, she's not impacting your life. But if you let her shrink you back, yeah, and you stop sharing your message, what about all of those other people that you came here to speak to? What about all of those other people that came to hear what you had to say? If you are not speaking it, you are not fulfilling your soul contract. Now, I get so passionate about this, and this is why I just want every single person every day to wake up and ask yourself one question: what have I got to say today? It can be about absolutely anything. It doesn't have to be tied into your brand. Just start giving yourself permission to speak, okay? If you have something come up with your husband, do not do, I'm going to let it go. Speak to him. Tell him, I'm not okay with that. This is how that's made me feel. And I just need to tell you, not because I want a confrontation, but because I need to be heard. And this is what we have to do. We have to see ourselves, and we have to be prepared to speak from our soul on the everyday stage that is life. And I'm just gonna, I can go on for hours with this, but I do want to just open up for some questions. One thing I just want to leave you with: speaking is for life, not just for business, okay? Because there are no boxes. The universe works in frequency and vibration. You don't get to put this in this box and this in this box. You have to be consistent and rounded with your speaking from your soul in all areas of your life. And that is a place where you get to absolute authenticity and safety that is not about money, is not about any of the other things. It's about self-source safety in your body, because you know that no matter what comes, you'll always be fucking okay.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. That was amazing.
Off quick enough to
I'm sorry, that deserves like a whole round of applause and a standing ovation and everything.
Did I warn you all? Did I pre-warn you that she was going to bring it?
I'll be honest, mate. I rocked up to Lindsay's first live on Instagram in my towel. Naked, because I was like, oh shit, am I on now? Like, I was like, oh, how come as you are? Like, literally in my birthday suit. And then the second one, we were talking about spawning salmon and, how they jump up the waterfall and all sorts. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but like, if that's what my soul wants to communicate today, like, that's just how it's gonna come out, right?
It was absolutely amazing, Lindsay. Thank you. I've got several quotes, most of them swearing in them, but I think there are optimum fucks in the air today. Put that one down.
I got that one as well. That's exactly the one that I wrote down as well. And one of my favorites was the fact that we're not responsible for other people's reactions to our energy. Like that for me was like, yep, okay. So there is so much, like I need to watch that back about 10 times. I'm sat here thinking, I don't know if to write it down, to listen, or to like just try and soak it all in, or I don't even know what's happening right now. But this is why I did pre-warn you all.
Has anybody got any questions or anything before we jump into the next room?
There is, I keep saying, I know there is like so much happening in the presentations. People will probably want to look through notes and stuff. So any questions that you kind of come to mind afterwards, feel free to drop them in the group, because we're all going to be in there as well. I know it's been a little bit tricky with people accessing the group, but once you're in there, everybody is in there. So feel free to chat. But you smashed it. What can I say?
Thank
You were
you.
amazing.
What I would say as well, obviously, if anybody is interested in learning a little bit more about my work, feel free to connect with me on, to be honest, I am on Estelle's going to be like, oh, I am on Instagram.
I knew you were going to say this.
Sorry. I am on Instagram, but I'm a 2-4. Like, for me, Facebook is like my home. Like, Facebook is my home where I can feel like I can really connect with people on that soul level. Like, and, you know, my stories are always up on Instagram. But if you really want to come and get to know me and sit round the fire and, you know, either get ignited or keep yourself warm, then, you know, Facebook is the place to find me. And I love making new friends. So come on over.
Thank you so much. It has been a pleasure, and I'm really glad that you put some clothes on for this presentation.
You're welcome.
Right, I will.
Thank you.
I will let you all go, grab some food, a drink, and I will see you in the